When you realize that the average person spends nearly $18,000 a year on stuff they don't really need or want, it's no wonder so many are buried in debt and struggling to get ahead financially. But what if there was a better way? A lifestyle shift that could free you from mindless spending, mountains of debt, and endless clutter. That's the promise of slow living, a modern movement focused on conscious consumption, minimalism, and finding value in experiences over material possessions. By slowing down and living more intentionally, you'll find that you can save money, get out of debt, and build real wealth over time. But adopting a slow lifestyle is more marathon than sprint. Most go through 6 distinct phases on their journey to simple living mastery, and recognizing which phase you're in now can make the transition easier and more sustainable long-term. Let's take a walk through the slow living journey. Phase 1. Awareness. It usually starts with a gnawing sense of discontentment in your gut. You have a good job, a nice home, and all the trappings of supposed success. Yet despite checking all the conventional boxes, you feel unfulfilled, overwhelmed, and constantly chasing an elusive ideal sold by marketers. Deep down, you know there must be more to life than a never-ending mountain of work, possessions, and debt payments. But what's the alternative? The first crack in your worldview comes from exposure to ideas around conscious consumption, getting out of debt, and minimalism. Maybe it's a blog post on frugal living that resonates, or a book like Your Money or Your Life that challenges everything you thought you knew about wealth. Whatever the source, you start questioning your old status-seeking habits and wondering if you're wealthy or just really good at going into debt. The seed of awareness has been planted. Phase 2. Research and planning. The more you expose yourself to these contrarian ideas, the more your natural inquisitiveness takes over. You devour books, blogs, and videos from personal finance gurus and minimalists. You feel a nervous excitement thinking there could be a way off this hamster wheel of overconsumption and debt after all. But adopting any new lifestyle requires upfront effort and planning. First, you take an unflinching look at your current financial state by tracking expenses, calculating net worth, and identifying areas for savings and debt repayment. The debt totals are ugly, but at least now you have full transparency. You outline a budget and begin small experiments around cutting back and consuming less. You research all the details around things like budgeting apps, frugal hacks, minimalist wardrobes, selling unwanted items, and cooking at home more. You figure out your enough number for achieving financial independence. With a plan in place, you're feeling focused and stoked to get started actually living the simple life. The path seems challenging, but clear. Phase 3. The Purge period. With a plan in hand, you get to work executing, and you start by purging. Years of compulsive, mindless consumption mean you own way more stuff than you actually use or enjoy. It's a startling realization, but now you can't unsee it. All these possessions feel less like prosperity and more like dead weight holding you back from financial freedom and the simple life you crave. You become a zealot for decluttering, oscillating between excitement at shedding psychological baggage and disbelief at how quickly you accumulated so much junk. Out goes clothing you forgot you owned, kids' relics from past obsessions, kitchen gadgets used once then abandoned, books you definitely won't reread, and furniture that doesn't spark joy. Meanwhile, purchases grind to a halt as you break the ingrained retail therapy habit. The drying up of inbound stuff highlights just how much you were buying simply to fill a void. You find creative ways to stretch groceries, reuse items, and reduce overall consumption. Minimalist blogs become your new scripture as you religiously apply every trick to strip life back to its essentials. This is thrilling at first, like ripping off a Band-Aid, but eventually austerity fatigue sets in as you realize eradicating every last possession is neither realistic nor the point. You're ready to shift from scarcity to abundance, not in materials, but in the pursuit of meaningful, affordable life experiences. Phase 4. Developing a frugal lifestyle. With your decluttering blitz behind you, the day-to-day process of living simply becomes the new focus. You take those newfound frugal living skills and systematize them, adopting the tenets of slow living as natural habits. You learn to delay gratification, no more impulse buys. All purchases over a set dollar amount go into a holding pattern to ensure you really need them and aren't buying frivolously. Most of the time, the urge passes. You finally break the cycle of instant gratification bred by Amazon one-click ordering and mindless consumerism. You learn the art of fixing and repurposing. Shoes get resold, clothing gets mended, electronics get repaired instead of mindlessly replaced. You search Craigslist or ask around before automatically buying something new. Repurposing and making do with what you already own becomes second nature. You cut costs ruthlessly. You attack the bloat of recurring subscriptions and monthly bills, culling anything non-essential. You negotiate rates on services. You eliminate bank fees. You diligently meal prep and bring lunch from home. You plan staycations over frequent expensive vacations. With discretionary spending on lockdown, you're making real progress towards paying down debts and saving for financial independence. You invest in quality over quantity. Need replaces want as your purchasing criteria. You gladly pay more upfront for fewer, higher quality items built to last. You've learned the false economy of forever replacing cheaply made junk. Your social circle adapts. Expensive nights out give way to affordable group activities like potlucks, hikes, or game nights. Slowly but surely, friends and family adjust to this lower-cost way of connecting that puts relationships ahead of transactions. Phase 5. Newfound balance. After some significant effort, you achieve a sublime balance that eluded you for so long. Spending is under control, debts are paid off, excess belongings are gone, savings are growing, and you have ample financial breathing room. You're content living well below your means without feeling deprived or restricted. Slowing down came with inevitable sacrifices, but also profound rewards. Simultaneously, you've become adept at injecting little luxuries like occasional splurges, restaurant meals, or gifts for others. Not as impulsive rewards, but consciously enjoyed as affordable indulgences facilitated by slow living. You may not be wealthy per se, but you've achieved the priceless luxury of choice and autonomy that few ever obtain. Phase 6. A new normal fully embraced. With the excesses and bad habits shed, simple living just feels normal now after years of practice. You no longer have to obsessively monitor your consumption. Moderation is baked into your mindset and habits. Any temptation to revert to old patterns don't stick. You've broken the cycle. Slow living is your new default setting, easily maintained with minimal effort. You pursue enriching experiences and relationships over mindless accumulation. You buy quality over quantity without overthinking it. Living below your means enables you to save abundantly yet still enjoy guilt-free splurges within reason. The transition was challenging at times, requiring diligence and sacrifice, but you persevered through the growing pains. The payoff is an authentic, purpose-driven lifestyle aligned with your deepest values. One focused on savoring each moment instead of chasing some elusive, marketed vision of affluence. We talked about embracing a frugal lifestyle as one of the markers of a simple life. And for more specific frugal saving techniques, check out this video next for some vintage classic saving tips.